Oh, okay, pictures. Do, 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 Work in progress. Okay, so we got this nice little apparatus device. You. Okay, and I got this thing, and it's all kind of a fancy thing. Feels kind of like a plastic, and I want to see how long it will last. And one of the cool things about this is this piece that you need for this slides into the bottom. There's kitties outside. That's why the flies came in to begin with. Oh, we don't want to lose this. It's got a USB-C charger. Nice. Okay. See, a little thing goes right there. You probably couldn't have seen that. Anyways. And so now, the reason why I'm using this is because it's easier. I don't need this one. This is a bad idea. Yeah, we don't need this is a grinder / filer down. I'm not going to use it on plastic. We got metal bits for this. Yeah, that'll work better. Little saw blade thing. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what this doesn't work on. I don't want to try the glass because it's not my glass. I do want to try the glass, but it's not my glass. So, anyways. Basically, we're cutting the top off, turning it over, leaving the lid off. The juice ones can be rinsed out, but then they don't have to be. It's flies. They'll fly down in, and then when you get there in the morning, when you see there's a fly, hey, let me outside. You can let it outside. It flies away, or at least flies around outside. It may come back in. But it probably won't if you close the door. Because then it'll be like, okay, I remember going back in there, getting stuck. It wasn't that worth it for me. Little saw blades. This one? Oh, this was one. Okay. Well, cool. And it's got drill bits. I've got some scissors that work really well for these once you get the holes started. So I was planning to start the holes on all these and then do. So this is a very non-essential option. This is very non-essential. It is simply quality of life for me at this point, or for this moment. I got it for basically multi-purpose tool, multi-purpose Dremel option. My grinder is in the storage shed. But one of the reasons why we're doing this is to leave the door open more at night when it's cool. But also to treat it as a house instead of as a burden. Like as a home instead of a burden. This whole There's a really big bad thing with you don't teach people in school how to upkeep a house because you don't expect them to ever earn a house. I do have one knife in this place, but the tip is bent. And for the record, you can rinse these out. It's not going to hurt anything. Put a little bit of sugar in some more, like a little bit of sugar. That's all you need. Little, like a pinch of sugar, and about a teaspoon of water in the bottom of it. To be fair, if all you're doing is rinsing them out, you may not need to begin with. We're going to leave those in the bag. Those are older, which means they are probably a lot more scented with some various... Oh! That might be the blade we had used. I don't know. We had used this to open up our vape pens. And this little thing unscrews. Okay. I don't own any of this stuff, so I don't want to scratch up. That could do. No, you're fine. The metals and things. Basically, it's a very good option so long as you're careful with it. You've got to be careful with things. People try to not be careful with things so they can break them because they can afford to replace them and others can't. And so then whenever other people try to be like them and they get things wrong and break their stuff, it's dishonest. It's not necessary. The whole point of doing videos is so people can learn from each other. Not be deceived by each other. And there's two of these red paper things to keep because, well, they feel paper-ish. Doesn't mean they're paper. But it's for gaskets, I think is what it's called. It's a gasket. Putting this thing back up in. Ooh, put the thing back in the bottom of it. Needs to be charged too. So we can charge it while we're doing the rest of this stuff. Charge it too. Okay. That's funny. Never from the vape pen. So next, you cut along the line. You cut along this line that you made with whatever option you use to make the initial incision. Then you cut, and you cut, and you cut some more. And voila. This thing keeps that up. You fill, so for the plants, you will screw the lid back on and fill this with dirt. Once, or your preferred, whatever. Substrate. That's a fancy word. I don't quite know, but I don't know all the jargon. Doesn't matter. When the roots get down here, you unscrew the cap, put it right there, fill this with water. The roots will keep the soil up in here, but the roots will also grow down into here. You water down some Miracle Grow. I'm sure there's probably other options. I didn't do the Miracle Grow. I was growing some pumpkins this way. They got flowers, but I ended up going to jail before they got to fruiting stage. So I didn't get to know if the pumpkins would grow or if they would make a pumpkin pie that tasted like chemicals from the Miracle Grow. I don't know. If you compost, there's probably ways to do it without using the store-bought chemicals. I don't know how though, of course. But then that's something to find out. Oh no! So if that does happen, okay. We're trying to avoid that from happening, and I've not quite gotten the the thing figured out. When that happens, you can use sticks. You could. I don't quite know what I did, but it doesn't have to go in there yet. You can leave it right there for now. Oh goodness, that's silly. That is silly. It's a work in progress. It's okay. We've got things to put it up. Like, I used a medicine bottle. It's amazing that it's kind of cool. I thought that this fits like that. So then you cut the bottom off that, and you got this tube, but it'll hold it upright. I've got pills in there, so I'm not using that one. Paxil, it's an SSRI. This is not a commercial. There should be no medication commercials. That is silly. It's very. Oh, this actually works fine for the flies. You gotta rotate it so it, because now, if you see, and you wake up in the morning and there's a fly. That's funny. Okay, and then so then if you're using it for the flies instead of the plants, you would end up shaking it outside. Whatever. That one's kind of okay. I'll leave this off because you can't push the stuff down with the lid on. And it doesn't smell because I eat all my food. You don't throw food in the trash. That's why your trash smells, because your food's decomposing. Because the fertilizer company doesn't want you to know about composting. It is that simple. They want your money. They don't care about how harmful pesticides are. They want to keep making chemicals. We need to be telling them, like, we need to stop buying their chemicals, especially pesticides. If someone comes to your store and tries to buy pesticides, you need to tell them, hey, we can't sell these to you unless you start eating them or decide to do something non-lethal instead. That's what Christianity is. Like actual Christianity. Don't kill people. Well, Jesus says you love your neighbors. That doesn't matter anymore. That's what my dad likes to say. He likes to use Jesus as a way to not obey the commandments. And that's... The 10 ones are pretty easy, but there's like over 614 that... There's a website that says 613, but then I know it's missing one about intercourse during certain cycles and waving your stuff around all over town. And that's they left that one off for some reason, and they shouldn't have, because it's a good, like, they knew not to sync up, stuff, but rather than now we're starting to learn why. And so it's bothersome because they don't want to focus on why. They say do this or we'll hurt you. No, I need to know why. I don't have the same faith as you. I don't need to have faith. Anything requiring trust will never deserve it. It's that simple. That's faith is not kosher. Faith is a lack of research. This one's got, and so then you end up catching, and I'll leave that juice in there and add a little bit of water occasionally, unless it decides to start smelling, in which case I'll rinse it out or throw it away. Because again, reducing, I really shouldn't throw it away though. I should clean it out and recycle it at that point. That would be a good thing to do, I think. That's probably the better thing to do. But for some reason, there's no state, like, exchange of informations. I don't understand why social workers can't call other social workers in different counties. That's really weird. Or different states. This person does not want to stay in your state. They cannot find a place where the climate is correct for them. But you force them to stay here because we don't have the resources to do this. Okay, well then call someone who does have the resources and work with them for it, because that's part of what your job should actually entail. But you're not trying to actually help anyone find housing and find an actual home, because then your job wouldn't be as, you'd have to find something else to do to get paid for. Okay, so why? But your job's done, so you're done. You can take off now. Like, we don't need that service anymore. But you can continue to be like, that's the universal basic income option. It's really good because it gives, like, you start paying these people simply to stay alive and stay out of trouble. That's the main goal. And you also start giving them the option of retox instead of forcing detox on them. That's people want to learn moderation. Abstinence does not let them learn moderation. Anyways, I've got a few of these things. I can cut off the things of them or not, but it doesn't matter. We'll see if that works. So that's hydroponics and non-human collection or relocation items. Yeah. Good days, everybody.